Amy has arrived, and her block punishment game is both interesting and powerful. Let's get into it. First off, she is a 10 frame character. Her 6BB is her 10 frame punish. This is obviously very powerful, being able to punish things that 3/4 of the cast just can't punish at all. It does 14 damage and it's by itself -4 on hit, but you can frame trap with either 6BBB or 6BB6, which goes into her stance. You can frame trap from there or go for mix-ups. Moving on to 12 frames, and we're going to have to talk about her critical edge. Yes, she has a 12 frame critical edge, but as you can see here, it only does 50 damage. Now this is situational. Her 12 frame critical edge does 50 damage by itself, but if she happens to have both her red and white roses fully stacked, this 12 frame critical edge does 90 damage, and it heals some of her guard stamina. This is obviously insanely powerful. When you don't have meter, you can go for AA, which does 16 damage and is +0 on hit. At 14 frames, you gain access to BA. This is quite a significant step up as a pure punish from your non-metered 10 and 12 frame punishes, as it does 28 damage and is +6 on hit. If you have full White Rose perspective, however, you can do 214B, which combos into 4B. This, oddly enough, gives you another White Rose, which at this point you won't need. If they back tech, I think you can get that Red Rose to hit them, and you might actually be able to get even more damage than this, but this is already 42 damage and a knockdown at 14 frames, which is really powerful. At 16 frames, you have Amy's normal critical edge. This one does 66 damage, which is quite below average for a 16 frame critical edge, the payoff being that you get the 12 frame one. However, if you have Red Rose perspective, it then does 80, which is average damage for a 16 frame critical edge, and once again, if you have Red and White, you have Purple Rose perspective, and you get that 90 damage and guard stamina refill. Otherwise, at 16 frames, 66BA is a knockdown and 35 damage, which is pretty nice. You can get a just frame by doing 666BA, which is fairly tight on a 16 frame punish usually. If you have Red Rose perspective, this turns into a launcher, and you can get 57 damage at least off of this. For 16 frames, that's very, very powerful. At 18 frames, you have a specifically designed lethal hit. 46B lethal hits as a block punish, and it is 18 frames, so this is what you go for here. It's going to obviously give you a full combo. Otherwise, you can go for 6k6, which transitions you into Amy's stance and gives you some guaranteed follow-ups. One of them for frames, one of them is a launch, though I'm not sure if there's a follow-up, and the other one for possible ring-outs. If you are really desperate to get those Red Roses for Amy's damage buffs, you can go for 4B here, which is 18 frames and gives a Red Rose stack on hit. You have to be careful though, because the Red Rose range can be a bit finicky, and the move itself can sometimes be out of range on longer range moves. At 20 frames, Amy gains her first completely unconditional normal hit launcher. At this point, you're probably going to end up wanting to go for 46B anyway, so her 3B is likely to be more of a mix-up tool than a block punisher, but it is a 20 frame launcher that you can use. On to While Rising punishment now, and obviously considering it has a 6 input, 6BB can be accessed from crouch and used to punish -10 on block lows. This is very powerful to have a 10 frame from crouch for obvious reasons. 12 frame critical edge is performed with a 6 plus CE input. You can do it at 12 frames from crouching, which is pretty crazy because it can punish some of the safest low pokes in the game. Otherwise, you're going to want to go for While Rising K, which is just a little poke as a 12 frame While Rising punish. It does 14 damage and appears to be -4 on hit. Once again, at 14 frames, if you have White Rose perspective, you can go for 214B into 4B. At 16 frames, you once again have access to Amy's normal critical edge. You either get the 66 damage from normal, 80 from red, or the 90 and the guard stamina recovery from purple. At 16 frames you also gain access to While Rising BB, 22 damage, a red rose stack and +2 on hit. At 18 frames you gain access to full crouch free AA and full crouch free B, but there's not that much reason to ever use them over once again going to your 18 frame lethal hit block punisher 4-6B. And that's it for this video on Amy's block punishment. As you can see, her punishment definitely varies depending on whether she has the red and white rose perspective stacks full, or whether she has meter. A 12 frame critical edge is extremely powerful, and even the 16 frame one is very useful. With the stacks she has the best critical edge in the game pretty easily in my opinion, and otherwise with her block punishment lethal hits and the more powerful punishes that she can get with the stacks is definitely interesting and potentially very powerful. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment and subscribe. I'll be back soon with more. Thanks guys, I'll see you soon.